What's up, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Heat vs. the World podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joel Jacob, and you can find me at Twitter at JoelKJacob_. And with me always, I got some guests. First, I got Miami Clutch PE. Say what's up to the people, Clutch.
What's up, everybody? Miami Clutch PE on Twitter. Hit me up with a follow for a bunch of Heat nonsense that I like to tweet about. And I'll follow right back, promise.
And then following him, we got from 5 Recent Sports, while also being a well-known author on Reddit. Say what's up to the people, Mr. Brian Young.
Yo, what's up? You guys can follow me at Brian is the King and look up my stories. I investigate disturbing cases if you really like horror. Or you can follow me for paleontology tweets because I guess that's what I'm doing now.
And then following him, we got the female correspondent. Say what's up, Miss Angelina Martel.
What's going on, Heat vs. the World? It's Angelina Martel. You can follow me on Twitter at Angie Martel with 2 E's for all your latest Miami Heat updates.
And then a very special guest. He was selected 11th overall in the 2012 NBA draft. When he's not on the court, you can find him bowling out on Twitch. Make some noise for the Miami Heat center, number 0 himself, Mr. Meyers Leonard. Say what's up to the people, Myers.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys for having me on. First and foremost, shout out Heat Nation. My wife and I have felt a connection here in this city and within the Miami Heat organization ever since we arrived. I am blessed. I'm thankful. Hammer down.
All right. So let's get right to it. So the last time we saw Myers on the court, I know of not too long ago you injured your shoulder. How are you feeling right now?
You know what? Rehab has been great. Rehabs typically aren't easy, but I'm very professional in my approach. I get my work in. I do extra stuff in my house. I'm constantly in my sling. But we've made great progression so far. And you know what? I will come back stronger, and I know it. I can feel it in my heart. It's unfortunate that I'm not able to be out there with the guys. That's the hardest part for me. Mm-hmm. But I will do my absolute best to continue to impact the team with my voice and however else I can, while also continuing to work on other things such as my leg strength, core strength, sports psych, watching film, helping young guys, using my voice, as I mentioned, communicating on the bench, all these different things to continually find ways to impact the game and better myself.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then also another thing I want to mention is happy late birthday, by the way. Was there any plans you had set up for your birthday?
Thank you so much for that. I feel like I'm getting old. Holy moly, 9 years into the league, 29 years old. But you know what? Not really. It's kind of funny. Everyone always asks, what do you want to do for your birthday? Or what'd you ask for your birthday? First of all, birthdays aren't really that special to me, if I'm being honest. I don't want to sound like negative, but that's the truth. Also, with the NBA regulations and the Heat regulations in terms of COVID, there's not a lot I can do. So I literally just asked my wife, hey, I just want to chill at the house. The chef came over, cooked a great breakfast. We hung out during the middle of the day, came back over, had a great dinner. So that's all I needed was a little bit of downtime with the people I love the most, Ellie and Coco.
Nice. And then I know, Ange, you had a question you wanted to ask Myers.
Yeah. What made you dye your hair, and what did Ellie and the team think of it?
What made me dye my hair? Maybe because I was a little bit bored. Also, I did this during quarantine. And I'm not even going to lie. As I'm looking in the camera, listen, I feel confident about it. I feel like I look damn good. So that's one thing. My wife likes it. The team, they think it's pretty dope. Duncan even said he might try this. I guess you heard it here first. He's going to try it this summer. So I don't know whether or not that's 100% true, but that's what he said. So we'll see. But, it's just a little change of pace. I, for one, enjoy having blonde hair. So there we have it. Although I do need to, literally after we get done with the pod, I'm going to go out and get some sun because it looks better when I got more of a, like a bronze tan going on.
You had it half pink and half blue before, correct?
I did, yeah. So that was when I used my platform on Twitch. I did a 24-hour live stream and then subsequent events with NBA players and other Call of Duty pros and Twitch streamers to raise money for people that were impacted heavily by COVID, mainly this time with Feeding America and Feeding South Florida. I ended up raising, I guess, with the help of a lot of people, $180,000,
Wow.
which fed over 1 million people, which was my goal, and I hit it. So a part of the challenges that I basically made a list of, I said if we hit X amount of dollars, the things, the milestones just kept getting more and more significant, and one of them was to dye my hair. So I went with the Miami Vice, of course.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
So then moving forward, Myers, so as a lot of people know, you came from the University of Illinois. What was your favorite thing about Illinois specifically?
Oh, man. Well, a few things. The tradition, number one, if you look this year, we have a very good team once again. But the Flying Illini of the late 80s and 90s, a lot of people think of the 2005 team with Darren Williams, Dee Brown, James Augustine, Roger Powell, all those guys. And to be honest, it's really I always kind of fall back on this. What's in my heart? Like, loyalty means a lot to me. It's one of my main core values, and I just wanted to stay home. I had, people all over the country, of course, recruiting me. I was very blessed and very thankful for all those schools to be considering me. However, I was literally waiting for the opportunity for the University of Illinois to offer me a scholarship, and pretty much it was the next day. I called a couple of schools that I had planned on going to visit. I said, look, I'm not coming. I'm committing to the University of Illinois. Thank you for your interest. So not only that, but staying close to home was important to me. Champaign, Illinois is about 2 hours north of my hometown in Little Robinson, Illinois. So not only that, but I think everything in life happens for a reason. The best decision I ever made was marrying my wife, and I met her at University of Illinois. So I loved it there. It was a great experience. I did 2 years at Illinois, and I don't know. It was a blessing, and now here I am.
Nice. So now one question I know, because first, before you came to Miami and you got drafted into the NBA, you started off with Portland. I know, Ange, you had a question you wanted to ask him?
Yes, I actually had a couple questions if you don't mind. My first one was, what was it like finally knowing that you made it? Like, you're drafted, you made it where you wanted to go. Like, how did that feel for you?
Great question. A very surreal moment on draft night. You wonder, like, what things are going to feel like. And now looking back on it, it's like I had all my closest family and friends there. And it's something that, although you're younger and you have these dreams and aspirations, like, you're working so hard, like, to maybe get there one day. And again, I always say this, I've been so incredibly blessed, and I'm so thankful for, every good moment, bad moment, all the people who have, mentors that have helped me. And that night was unbelievable. It feels like, holy moly, I finally made it. And then I would say this, then I go to training camp and I do all these things. But my very first game was actually against the Los Angeles Lakers in Portland. And I was able to be the captain of the game. And I walked up and I was shaking Kobe Bryant's hand, rest in peace. And, I think it was such a blur. It was like, I didn't forget about it, but then I was coming off the bench at the time. Boom, I check into the game. There's a foul. I'm sitting at the free throw line. I look to my right, and it's Kobe Bryant. I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm really here. Like, seriously, here I am, like, young 20-year-old kid at the time, not even really a young man, I don't think. Trying to find my way in the league. First game, boom, there's Kobe Bryant. So that was pretty crazy. But just overall, I'm just so thankful. And yeah, so draft night was crazy, and then that first game was pretty cool.
Nice.
And one more question I had for you. I know, like you said, that this was all a blur for you, really, but I don't know if you remember this info, but I'm just going to try to ask anyway. During the 2019 Western Conference game where you scored your career high, were you aware that you'd reach your career high, or not until after the game?
Okay, so typically I try not to look up, but here's what I do remember. I might as well just go into it. So I've had a lot of difficulties in my career, right? In my fifth season, I suffered from depression and anxiety. It was very difficult for me personally. You know, it was hard on my family. They were trying to help however they could. You know, certainly my wife, our relationship. And those people loved me enough to help me through those moments, right? But I was individually, during that season, one game, I'll never forget, it was against the Bucks. I checked in, I missed a three, into the game. Whatever, a couple plays go by, I catch it again, boom, launch another three, airball it. Rare moment for me. I rarely miss the rim. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, individually, I'm being booed by our entire fan base. And it was hard as hell. Like, it almost, like, it makes me emotional. To come full circle, stay ready, keep believing, keep working, to have the entire arena then chanting your name was absolutely insane. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because that was during the stretch where I had 25 in the first half of that game. And I'll never forget, I looked up, and I don't even remember the score. I know it was close. But I looked on our side, and Meyers Leonard's got 25 points, and Steph Curry's got 25 points. That was pretty crazy to me. And it was just, wow. That was a crazy game. I would have done anything for us to win that game and extend the series. But that was a moment, and that game kind of catapulted my career. But let me just take this moment to say that I knew in my head and in my heart both that my moment was coming, because I had played really well all throughout the beginning of that season. And then all of a sudden, at the trade deadline, we took Enes Kanter, which basically told me, like, okay, Meyers, you played pretty well, but we're not so sure about the playoffs. So I could have, as a vet, I suppose, been like, all right, I've had enough of this bullshit. I'm going to do me. I'm not going to work out as hard, not going to watch as much film, not going to get shots up before and after practice. It was the complete opposite. I stayed in shape. I mean, I was a madman in the weight room. I did everything I could to stay ready because I knew I was going to get my chance. And so, lo and behold, we play game one in Oakland. I played a little bit. I felt like it was coming. Game two, I check in, have a pretty decent second half. We lose the game. We're down 0-2. We go back to Portland. Game three morning, there was an optional shooting for shoot-around. I was the only guy that showed up. I was having breakfast. I got a text message from Terry Stotts, and it said, Meyers, come to my office when you get dressed before you go to the court. I said, okay, no problem. I went and got dressed, went in his office. I said, do I need to close the door? He said, no. He said, okay, you're starting. And I said, okay, I'll be ready. And I walked out of his office because I knew the work that I had put in. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. So I had a good game three, then boom, all of a sudden game four was explosive. And I really think that's what catapulted my career. Also, I've literally been told by the Heat, we know when we see a Heat guy, a Heat culture guy, like winners, guys that are all in for the team, you know, all these different things, ready for the moment. And I truly believe that's why they saw something in me, and that's why they traded for me. And so that was kind of my moment that allowed me to now take this next step in my career. Whereas if I had been an asshole and I had been a vet that said, you know what, I'm not going to, you know, communicate on the bench, or I'm going to be the kind of this negative energy over here. Nobody wants that. And that's not how I am anyways. So I took full advantage, and now here we are today.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Great story. I was going to say, that's exactly Heat culture guy. So I can see why they wanted you, man.
For real.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And, you know, what you mentioned, it sort of brings up the next question that we wanted to ask. Like, how was it when you found out that you were getting traded from Portland to Miami? And what was that whole experience like for you?
It was pretty crazy, if I'm being honest. You know, you always, again, similar to what it was, what's it going to be like when I get drafted, or if I get drafted? I always wondered because, again, I'm so loyal at heart. Like, I wanted it to work so badly in Portland. And if I'm being straightforward with you, I thought, okay, I finally had a big playoff series. I showed them undoubtedly that I am ready. Like, I can do this. All of a sudden, boom, I'm training with Drew Hanlon, who's my trainer on the floor in L.A., I'm like getting my warm up in, and I see his videographer who's there every day helping getting content and these things. He shows Drew his phone, I think. You know, I see something going on over there. Drew goes, Meyers, come here for a second. I'm like, what the hell? So I walk over there, and boom, he shows me Woj, and I'm like, holy shit, you're joking, right? He's like, no, this is legit. You just got traded. So it was like this weird. I don't know that I've yet to really actually explain this type of emotion I went through. It like hit me like a ton of bricks. It's almost like I went numb, really. He was like, bro, go look at your phone, take care of whatever you need to take care of. We'll resume the workout. I couldn't tell you what happened the rest of the workout. I worked out another 45 minutes to an hour after this. So I walked over to my phone. I had a missed call from my agent and from Neil O'Shea at the time, who was and still is the GM of the Blazers. Said, Meyers, look, I'm sorry I missed you. You know, we traded you and Mo Harkless for Hassan Whiteside. You know, thank you so much for your time here, et cetera, et cetera. The point is it hit me so different. You know, I'm an emotional guy. I cried at my wedding. My wife did not. Doesn't mean she doesn't love me. She's just not emotional. I am, is what it is. I have no shame in admitting that. So like I said, I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell you anything that happened the rest of the workout. I walked to my car. I sat down and like tears just started pouring out of my eyes for like 30 seconds. Because I didn't understand why. I thought it mattered now. Like I was going to have my role that I finally wanted. I proved myself. Boom, all of a sudden I'm gone. Going to Miami. I'm like, holy shit. So I got myself together and I was like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you know you can play. Boom, we're going to Miami, baby. You know, like I'm finally going to get some goddamn sunshine. You know,
actually had beaches in Miami.
Exactly. Exactly. So I had like a similar experience. Somebody asked me this question recently, like, what was it like when you learned about your shoulder? So when it happened in the game, I was like, man, I can't believe I just did this. I'm pretty sure I just tore my shoulder. Oh my God. And everyone else is like, you know, maybe you just strained it. You're going to be fine. I was like, in my head, I'm like, no way. Anyway, so we came back late. We landed like 3:30 a.m. I had an MRI at 7:30, right? I get out of the tube, doctor's standing there, our head doc and our head PT. I'm like, oh boy. Like, Meyers, you tore the shit out of your shoulder. Same thing. I was like, oh my God, like what? Quickly thinking, like, why is this happening? This continually happens in my life, where it's like this challenge and boom, it's happening for a reason. I know it. So I sat in my truck. I'm getting ready to go home. The doctors pull off. Boom, it hits me like a ton of bricks. Like, what the hell? Like, I finally got healthy again. We made this playoff run. I feel good about this upcoming season. Like, damn it. Like, what is going on? I love it here in Miami. I love this team. I love everything that, you know, these guys are about. All of a sudden, I know I'm done for the season. Boom, tears start pouring. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Pull myself together. But then now I'm working on different things. Sports psych, working on my core strength, leg strength. Like, why did this happen? I don't know. But I'm going to figure it out. I guarantee it. I'm going to come back stronger. And I'm going to do what I do because I've made it this far and I ain't going to stop now. Sorry, I go off on a tangent occasionally, but
no, you're good. Great mentality, though, man.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're going to have a career as a motivational speaker after the NBA. Like, I feel all pumped up, man.
I've been told that a few times, but thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Meyers, I actually have two questions for you as well. So you actually came to the Heat in part of that trade, that 4-team trade with Philly, Portland, Miami, and LA. You actually came with Jimmy Butler, basically. How was it like being with Jimmy Butler? I mean, since day one, what he's done for the team since day one, what's it like having a leader like Jimmy Butler on and off the court?
Jimmy is a complete 180 from what everybody thought he was, or anybody who didn't really know him. You know, as a player in the league, you know, at the time, I had already done 7 seasons in the league. You hear, oh, Jimmy Butler's an asshole in the locker room, or, you know, Jimmy Butler's not nice to his teammates. Bullshit. Yeah, he is. All Jimmy Butler wants is for you to want to win at all costs and to put the work in and grind and have discipline. I see no issue with that. Come on, people. Like, what the hell? We're making millions of dollars to play basketball, something we love. Like, I feel like I could run through a wall for that guy. I'm actually pissed because I'm hurt, and I would do anything to check into a game and impact the damn game. Like, I don't know, with anything, my spacing, my willingness to block out, just want to win. I love that guy, man. I really do. He is so misunderstood. He's a great teammate. He's got a great heart. Like, he works so goddamn hard. He's an absolute machine. Look at the guy. I mean, talk about high-level impact. That is Jimmy Butler. He defends. He gets guys. Watch Jimmy at the beginning of the game. He's not even looking to score. Sometimes we're like, damn, Jimmy, take the layup. But what people don't realize is he's trying to get Tyler and Duncan and K-Nunn, all these other guys involved. Why? Because they've now been in the moment. Boom. Now all of a sudden I throw that ball to Tyler Hero. Boom. Tyler's got, 37 or 38? What was it? 37, I think. in the finals
Boston game,
or the semifinals. Why? Jimmy has put him in those moments. Like, make no mistake, he knows what he's doing. He is pushing these guys forward with all this confidence and wanting them to succeed. Because then when the game comes down to the fourth quarter, or you see that Jimmy where he's leaned over that stanchion, can't hardly goddamn breathe. He's dropping 40, guarding LeBron for the entire game. He's got triple doubles. He's doing everything. This guy is incredible. I mean that. He is the real deal.
That just goes to show, like, when he was out with COVID, like, how much, like, everything can change when he's not there. And, like, when he comes back, I think we're, like, 10-4 with him on the court, and then we're, like, under 500 when he's not on the court, like, certain games. Mm-hmm. So that just really goes to show, like, how much he really impacts the team and, like, what he does for us and everything.
And it's just like that, right? Jimmy goes off, holy. We got to find a way to be better, right? Because Jimmy can't be the superhero with the cape on all the time. Busting
your ass for us all the time. We have other players.
Exactly. That guy, he's unbelievable. Simply put,
we're very good. There's no question about it. But
I also wanted to ask about I wanted to touch on the Heat culture. What was your experience from Heat culture from day one? Like, I saw, and that's for a lot of players on the team. I saw that there was a dynamic last year, and everybody on the team was perceived as an underdog at some point in their career, because I saw in the stat that nobody was a top 10 pick on that team except for Andre Iguodala. Mm. So what's the Heat culture like? What's the dynamic of this team, especially the one last year, because it seemed to, like, gel so well together, and it's just a perfect puzzle that came together last year. What was that like?
Great question. I will start by saying this, because Portland deserves credit. The culture that was established there by Dame and the rest of the guys and the coaching staff, very great. Very, very good job establishing, like, this professionalism and work ethic. However, let me get to Heat culture, because that's what everybody really wants to know about all around the league. All these fans, they want to know, like, okay, what's it really like? Is it actually what they say it is? Yes, it is. I'm going to tell you why. Because in a league that is, like, it is a business at the end of the day. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I could be traded just like that, and certain things could happen. You're like, well, what the hell happened? Here, there is this discipline, this loyalty, this work ethic, character, like all these values that matter in a league where, yes, there are good people, and yes, other places do it differently, or they try to mimic whatever we have going on here. I just have felt this ultimate connection here personally and professionally because of what they stand for. Again, it's not only Jimmy, but we're talking about. So Pat Riley, man, it's from him to Spo, the rest of Spo's staff, Jimmy, Bam, and the rest of the guys. That's the difference. There is this standard that must be upheld. Make no mistakes about it. You're either with us or you're gone. Like, that's what it feels like. That's what I know. And that's why when I came here, I always had said, like, I hope someday or some team, someone's going to see what I bring. It's total package. And I'm confident in saying that, by the way. It's who I am off the floor. It's who I am as a teammate, as a man in the community, and then on the floor. People will say, oh, well, Meyers Leonard's 7 foot. He doesn't average the X amount of rebounds. I don't give a shit. Go look at the defensive rebounding numbers that the teams that I've played on. Like, look at the numbers of our team. Go look at me boxing out every best offensive rebounder and allowing for Bam and Jimmy and whomever else to come flying in there and grab it. I don't need the credit, by the way. I shouldn't even mention this because I don't even want credit for this. Are there things I can do better? Yes, but I am a damn good NBA player. My communication on the defensive end, I don't need, like, notoriety for that. I just want to cover up one mistake that might win us the game, or 2 or 3 or 4 mistakes that all of a sudden, boom, that's the stop that we needed. Boom, now we're winning the game. Or my floor spacing. Yes, 7 feet. Like, I think number 1 3-point percentage for 7-footer in NBA history.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
That's going to open up the lane for Jimmy and Bam, K-Nunn, these other guys. Take pressure off. I don't want the credit. I swear to God, I could care less. But what I do know is that when Spo's watching film, or when some of the assistants or maybe my teammates, I'm hopeful that they see that. That's what I live for. Yeah, sure. The 30-12 against the Warriors was great. Some of the bigger games I had last year. In fact, in Orlando, big game last year, we wanted to win that game. Obviously, we want to win every game. I had 18-12 the day before we played Philly, and I hurt my ankle. Sure, those games are great, but I like the game where I got 9 points. I'm 3 for 5 from 3. Got 3 or 4. Of course, I would love to average a double-double, but I don't give a shit. Guess what? As long as we get a win, that's all that matters to Meyers Leonard. And that's that.
That's awesome.
It's a really good way to sum up your point. I wanted to ask, actually kind of expand on that, because I think a lot of times fans have this idea that, they have a certain perception of certain players, and I think that people forget that, you as an NBA player are objectively one of the best basketball players in the world. You're in the NBA for a reason. You were a lottery pick for a reason. You're signed to a multi-year contract for a reason. You show up to any gym and you would absolutely destroy everybody there. And I think that people, forget these things when they criticize. So I'm kind of wondering, as a top-tier basketball talent, how often do you kind of look at what people are saying online or whatever and think, man, these guys have no idea what they're talking about? Is that a common thing, or do you generally find that basketball knowledge, is at a pretty sufficient level, or kind of what's your take on the perception of players in general?
You see my face right now?
I do.
Most people have no clue. That's the honest truth. I'm not trying to be an asshole. There are some people who truly do study and understand the game. Then there's people who just watch occasionally, who are like the armchair quarterback. I don't even know what you'd call it. I never even heard the basketball phrase. I don't know, armchair point guard or something. If I was 7 feet like Meyers, I'd be able to be in the NBA. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't pick up my mic. No, you wouldn't. First of all, I have an inordinate amount of discipline and work ethic, period. I refuse to lose. Now, let's go to the other part of this. All you little shit-talking haters, you don't stand a chance, and that is facts. People say, I could give him buckets. No, you couldn't. I'm swatting your shit to the 40th row. I'm backing you down every time and yamming right on your forehead. I'm going to back up. No, tray ball, slap. When I arrived in Miami the first day, 92 out of 100. Okay, 5 spots, 20 shots, threes, 92 out of 100. I am elite. This is what I do. UD was talking to the locker room the other day. This shit was hilarious. One of his boys here in Miami was like, all right, bro, I could probably do what you do. Let's go to the gym. UD's like, are you sure? We're doing this for money. We're talking to a guy who works a 9 to 5, blue collar dude. Apparently, this is what UD told me. Obviously, he kicked the living dog shit out of one of his best friends. Took his money. Thank you. Get out of here. The truth is people have no idea, honestly, how talented every NBA player is. Look at what Caruso said. This is a little off topic, but it'll tie back in. He said, well, I want to be the guy, so many guys are trying to do these different things to prove to teams that, I'm here to stay or I matter. How about doing the little dirty work, defending and rebounding and, doing whatever it takes to win? All of these people, they have no clue, no perception how talented every last one of us is. And they would take buckets on their head all day long. They think, I could go right by him. No, you couldn't. You'd get just destroyed all day long. Not to mention you'd be huffing and puffing. No, you're not even in good enough shape to do this. You have no idea. You have no clue, buddy. Shut your stupid mouth and stay behind your little cute keyboard over there. I have no idea. God. People are moronic.
That is perfect. No, it's exactly the type of answer I would have expected. So I'm glad that you said that, because I feel like a lot of people need to realize, there's a reason that, Joe Schmo isn't making millions of dollars in the NBA. It's very important.
How many people are on the planet? Remind me, somebody, roughly?
7 billion.
7 billion. Huh. 450 NBA players, 60 new ones every year. Wow. Meyers Leonard sucks at basketball. He's going on his 10th year next year. No, my ass, buddy. You're just sorry as hell, sitting at home, eating Cheetos, fat as hell, worried about me while I'm balling,
so funny.
baby.
I'm like dying.
Get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear that bullshit.
Great content.
It's awesome.
Oh, that's
So I also wanted to ask, shifting away from basketball a little bit, as a person, because I think you mentioned this at the beginning, as a public figure, you're still just a guy. So is it kind of weird to kind of reconcile, like, you're still just Meyers Leonard, but people kind of look at you as this, like, figure that's almost separate from most people? Like, is it kind of strange to still be like, but I'm still just me, if you kind of get what I'm saying?
100%. Great question. So I'm going to give you maybe like a three-prong answer here. So number one, when people ask me, does it get annoying to be who you are? Now, I'll say this. I'll start with this. Being tall does not help my case, right? Because some NBA players, can put a ball cap on, maybe a hoodie, whatever, kind of sneak around, say, go to the mall quickly or go, walk in and get some food to go. Me, they're like, he's really tall and really good looking, by the way. Sorry, I had to say that part. No, I'm joking. But anyways, if they don't know it's me right away, especially like in Miami or in Illinois or back in Portland, like, or really anywhere I go now, if I'm being honest, I'm not even trying to gloat. People know. And if they don't, they type in like, tall white NBA player. And I've seen people at dinner. Like, it's pretty normal. They start to type on their little phone, and then they look at me, and they look back, and they're like, they talk to their friend like, I think that's him. And then eventually, like, they come over like, look, I'm sorry, I hate to do this, but can I get a picture? Like, I looked at my phone, it actually was you. You play on the Heat, right, Meyers Leonard? I'm like, yeah, it's me. So it gets on my nerves only a couple things. If I'm out at a meal with my wife, say an anniversary meal, or I'm just trying to enjoy my time with my wife, getting out of the house, not during COVID certainly, but that's one thing. Because as soon as I stand up and agree to take a picture, I'm screwed. Because if I got in that chair and people didn't know, I'm like, boom, I'm good. So that's one thing. Or if I'm with like my friends and I'm trying to really have a good time or just do me, it can get annoying. However, I'm so humbled and so thankful that like people want to say hello. That's what I prefer. Like if you say hello, ask me how I'm doing rather than, wow, you're tall, can I take a picture? It's like, that's so much better. What else? It's just, I prefer the way my family and friends treat me, meaning I'm just normal Meyers to them, truly. Like, I mean that. Like, they don't see the money, the NBA, they don't care. They love me for me, and that's why ultimately I'm like so thankful for my wife. She could care less about the NBA, about my money. She wants me for me, like my heart, who I am as a man, how much I care for others, how much I care about her and her family and just everybody. And I mean that, and I know that because that's what she tells me. And so, I would prefer, just to be a normal guy, but with this all ends up coming full circle, like with, to whom much is given, much is expected, right? So that's why I feel just constantly in my heart to help others, for the Feeding America stuff, or when all the craziness was going on and still is, unfortunately, some like, with police brutality, all these things. It was on my heart to say to my wife, look, there's all these things going on in Miami. We've been blessed by Miami. Boom, $100,000 to the city of Miami, like that, to help with these things that are going on. Now, I've been put in a position to be able to do things like that. Yes, and I'm blessed. And that's why I try to show with my voice, with my platform, sometimes financially, that I am here to help. And so, I know that, with this territory comes a lot of expectation. And I'm here for that. Like I said the other day, like I believe that I have wide shoulders for a reason. Like I'm supposed to be able to carry my family and friends and communities with me, because I feel that literally and figuratively, my voice is powerful. Like I need to share. I need to give. I need to serve people. People often ask me like, well, what are you going to do when you're done? And a lot of people are like confused when I say, well, I think I just want to coach, or I want to serve, I want to give back, maybe do some public speaking, some motivational speaking. I don't need money. Money doesn't drive me. Serving people drives me. Seeing other people get better drives me. And so, you know, I've just been, I always come back to this. I've been so damn blessed. And yes, I've worked very hard. Yes, I'm 7 feet and I was given God-given abilities, but I've done a damn good job with them. And so I will continue to do that. I'm hopeful that, you know, I know that I'll heal from this surgery, but then I'm hopeful, that I can stay here in Miami. We'll see what happens. I don't know. You know, I'm on a 1+1 team option. We'll see what happens. The point is I am incredibly thankful. I do not take this for granted. I will continue to inspire others and do my best to impact people in a positive way and serve other people.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
And then Brian.
So I also wanted to ask, you know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, going back to basketball a little bit, there's been a lot of talk about Bam's aggressiveness specifically, you know, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, how a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. A lot of people don't know what they're seeing. But, you know, I'm kind of just curious, like, is that something that in practice you guys are telling him to be more aggressive? And as a 3-point shooting big yourself, one of the best in history, you know, just being objective and honest about it, you know, do you kind of want to see him shoot that 3D ball more?
Okay, so again, people don't understand like what high-level impact looks like. You know, there was those games in Brooklyn, for example, where Bam was balling, right? But Jimmy was out. And like the way that all of these things are structured and the way that Spo runs the offense, Bam can be assertive, yes. Bam can also be a facilitator. Bam is an elite defender. Bam does all these different things that ultimately impact winning. Now, he did say, like, God, sometimes I just got to take control of this game and find a way to go get a bucket. But what people don't realize is sometimes Bam, rolling hard as hell to the rim, pulls over that weak defender. Now Jimmy finds Duncan in the corner. Boom, tray ball, game's over. Like, people can't conceptualize what, hypothetically, what our offensive numbers might look like, say, with me on the floor or Kelly. Like Kelly balled out last night, right? They have to consciously think as a big, I got to stay closer to him. I don't want my guy to score. So naturally, he starts to gravitate to me. If you literally watch film, it can be one step left or right that could give Jimmy that angle to either, let's say, score or throw the lob to Bam, and all of a sudden the weak side helps. He throws a weak side pass, boom, Kanon's got a 3. It is literally a game of chess. Like, you don't see it. Like, when people – if you can't really analyze film and break it down, you don't quite understand. Or on our defensive end, boom, let's say I call out a flare. Now all of a sudden our guy doesn't get hit by that screen. Now we're into a mid pick and roll. I'm in the right place. Everyone's on the weak side. Boom, we get that stop. Like, there's these little micro wins that you're getting literally every possession, every second on both ends of the floor and in transition that can literally win you a game. If you are trying to game plan for Giannis Antetokounmpo or, you know, another great player in transition, whomever it may be, Giannis, if I, as a big, I'm standing at the 3 on offense and I'm spacing the floor. Let's say somebody takes a 3 on the opposite corner as me. My job, I know from the scouting report, is to dead ass sprint, boom, either right to the nail or right to that near side elbow. Because guess what? When Giannis is coming down the floor, he is scanning. He is elite, right, in the open court, and he's elite, period. If he sees a 7-footer standing there, his likelihood of trying to do that high cross spin back dunk is less. Like, how am I supposed to say, oh, well, that's Jimmy or Bam, let's just let them guard one-on-one? No. Let's load 2 bodies to the ball. Boom. I'm in front of Giannis. Now he gets off it. He comes back into a pick and roll, and now all of a sudden they're looking at the clock. They got, 8 seconds left. And we win that possession. People don't realize how much each possession matters. Each little thing matters. Communication matters. Boxing out matters. Moving the ball and getting others involved matters. Setting a solid screen, all of a sudden maybe they change their coverage. Boom, they change their coverage. They get confused. Now someone's got a layup. And all of a sudden they overreact to that layup from the last time. Boom, now we got a wide open corner 3. Like, I would love, to sit down with someone and see how they would analyze a game as compared to me, where I'm looking at like, okay, was the big hand on it at the level of the screen, or is he dropped back? Okay, do we need to take an extra dribble when we're getting downhill, force that weak side to help, and then we make a play from there? Like, there's just all these. I can literally sit here and rattle for hours about this stuff, but the point is Bam's impact goes beyond people saying, "Oh, Bam, come on, you need to score more." That's great. Yes, Bam can be aggressive or more assertive in spots. But let me tell you, when he's playmaking, that's what teams don't want. Because now it opens up everything else. Like, they got to try to take away something. So, it's when you're playing with high-level impact guys like Jimmy and Bam and other guys, you learn how to operate around them. And Spo has an offense built to be explosive, and we have shown that. We've also not made shots, and that's where maybe, okay, the shots aren't falling. Let's try to get an offensive rebound, or let's get Bam a touch in the post, and all of a sudden we get feeling good again. So again, I could literally talk basketball forever. So I'll stop there.
No, that's a really good answer, because I think that a lot of people miss the fact that, and I think a lot of this just comes from, obviously they're not in the games, but also I think 2K is kind of, clouded people's minds from all the micro reactions. You're reading, reacting, and then you're reacting to the reaction, and you kind of have to psychologically, like you said, think about, like, okay, if I do X, then he's going to do Z, and then that you have to kind of project out all these potential things that could happen while you're in the game. And I think that a lot of people just don't have that kind of foresight to project themselves and think about, all the little things physically and psychologically that are happening in the game. So I really appreciate your insight there.
Mm-hmm. My pleasure.
All right, then Angelina, Clutch, do either of you guys have a question you'd like to ask Meyers?
I'll go if you don't mind, Clutch. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll get next.
Okay, so I had a question about Level Foods, actually. Hey. So where did the name Level come from? Is that does that have a meaning behind it? Is it an acronym? What is it?
Yeah, so if you actually look at it, it's the balance between Leonard and Ellie. So we were trying to, you like that, right? My wife came up with it, admittedly. I did not. We were going through different names. You got to go to the USPTO and you got to figure out, what's available. By the way, there's a zillion companies on the face of the planet. So 3 or 4 different names, I can't even remember what we were hypothetically thinking of, didn't work. So that's where Level came from. Shout out Level Foods, best protein bars on the market. I promise you they are. I've eaten quite literally all of them. I used to be a protein bar connoisseur, but a lot of them had ingredients that weren't allowed in my diet. And so my wife literally got in the kitchen, made some bars. All of a sudden, here we are almost 3 years later. So pretty cool. It's been a slow grind, but I'm incredibly happy for my wife. And yeah, it's the balance between Leonard and Ellie.
And on that subject, what's your favorite flavor?
Right here. Apple crisp. Boom. So good. But I do love salted brownie. Also, we did a Meyers birthday giveaway. If people bought 12 bars, we gave them 12 salted brownie for free. But I sincerely mean this. Ellie and I wouldn't allow for us to produce something that wasn't something we liked. So we love all of them. Honestly, oat cookie, great in the morning. Apple crisp, great in the morning. Banana bread, really whenever. If you think about chocolate, a lot of times people want that at nighttime. So I literally eat about 3 of them probably per day. It's our bars, and of course I'm going to love them, or else again I wouldn't allow them for us to sell them. So we're very blessed. The last couple months have been amazing. We're so thankful for the support from quite a few people in Miami, and just people in general. So we will keep grinding. I know my wife. I mean, this is the cool part of I guess an NBA relationship that a lot of people don't see. Our best compliment is you're so relatable. That's what we want. Meyers is a normal guy. Ellie tells her story. There's been so many, I'll just admit, females that have said to Ellie, thank you so much for being so real. Ellie she was the bigger girl in 8th grade. Ellie was her height that she is now in 185 pounds in 8th grade. True story. She slowly figured out her journey, and so many people have been so thankful for her willing to share, me willing to share about depression, anxiety, things I've gone through in my career, things I've gone through personally. Like that, this is what matters to me. I freaking love winning. Oh my God, I love the NBA. I love my job. I'm so passionate about it. But ultimately, it's about impact, both professionally and personally. So this is another way for Ellie and I to educate people, bring other people into kind of this network of people who just, I don't know, I guess maybe trust us, see what we see, feel what we feel. And that's what fills us up, is impacting other people and serving other people. And this is a great way to do it. So
that's great. Are you guys in the process of inventing protein? Because I know it's a protein bar brand, or protein powder, protein drinks. Are you in the process of working on that as well, or just strictly protein bars?
Yeah, snack foods company. So right now we're protein bars. We have 4 flavors: apple crisp, banana bread, oat cookie, salted brownie. 2 more flavors, which I can't tell you, sorry, in the works right now. My wife is also working on a collagen-based protein powder, and she's the rock star of our house. In case you couldn't tell by the urgency of my voice and the excitement of my voice, she literally Monday through Saturday and sometimes Sunday is in the office 9 to 6 p.m. She's crazy. She loves it. She loves the grind. So we will continue to just push forward. Any products that we feel like maybe would benefit others or benefit our lives, then we'll consider it. So thank you for asking. I truly do actually appreciate it, because I love what do I say? Bragging about my wife occasionally.
Hey, Myers, I wanted to get in a little bit into your time in the bubble, in the NBA bubble. How is it like being in a bubble for so long, being one of the 2 teams that were in there the longest, all the way to the NBA Finals? What's it like being without family for a long period of time? I know you were able to get Ellie in there later on, but how's it like just the whole experience, 3+ months in there?
Unique, difficult, challenging, but still amazing. Look at the run that we made, right? I would have done absolutely anything to be more a part of it on the floor. Now, I, for one, think after having a bunch of time off, I did a pretty damn good job in the finals. Just going to throw that out there. But the truth is it was a challenge. It really was. The bubble was not easy. However, these values and this heat culture that I was talking about earlier mattered in the bubble, right? We were the ones to say, ooh, can't wait for them to give up. We can, we can sense it. We can feel it. Oh, they want to go home so bad. But all we wanted to do was win and be there for each other. So all of a sudden you see this camaraderie, right? You see how connected we were. Whereas, by the way, you talked about us being so close last year. Yes, we were. It's still the same this year, a few different players. But what people are missing, again, they can't quite understand unless they really think hard or try to conceptualize everything. We can't be around each other very often. At the hotel, we're not really supposed to do much. We can't really go outside on the road. At home, we're supposed to stay in our own homes. We're not supposed to go other places. Last year, for example, my birthday just came by, right? Last year, the entire team showed up for a birthday party of mine, which was a surprise party, and I was very surprised, at Komodo. I walked in, and I was so overwhelmed with this time, thank God it wasn't crying emotion. But I see all my teammates. I'm Jesus Christ, these guys really rock with me. That's a good feeling as a professional to know that it means more than just basketball. And so the bubble, back to the bubble, being without my wife and dog, very, very difficult. Sitting down with Spo and hearing that I'm now out of the starting lineup and probably won't play much, very difficult. I had to come to terms with the fact of how bad I hurt myself. The rehab process, not fun. And then lastly, and this is something I've talked about many times, personally, the bubble was even more difficult because of everything that was going on outside the bubble, right? Meyers Leonard standing for the national anthem. It was leading up to about the 3 days prior to the first time I knew I was going to stand. Very taxing mentally, emotionally, in my soul. Because here's what I tell people. In my head, it made sense to stand, or excuse me, to kneel. In my head, it made sense to kneel because that's what everyone else was doing. In my heart, I needed to stand for many reasons. My brother, former United States Marine Corps, 2 tours in Afghanistan, my connection to the Navy SEALs, many other special operators, people who have fought and died for this country. Now, I know that they're kneeling. They're not trying to disrespect that. I know it. I respect them for kneeling. And by the way, when I speak to my brother, when I speak to these people, they understand too. However, people needed to understand me also. I think that, and I know that my teammates certainly, because I sat and teared up in front of them trying to explain myself and how I truly felt. And they said, no, Myers, we got you. UD, Dre, Jimmy, Pat, Spo, everyone. Myers, UD literally told me to my face. I sat down with him. He was the first person I sat down with. I was so goddamn nervous when I asked UD to sit down to talk and say, like, hey, I need to ask you about something. And I think he probably knew what was coming. And we started to talk about it and different experiences we both had. And he said, Myers, trust me when I tell you, I would have smelled bullshit a mile away if I knew you were a bad dude. We got you. And then I went and sat down with Dame Lillard and CJ and a bunch of the other Trailblazer players I had been around for years. And even their security guy, Rick, who African-Americans served. And they told me, like, Myers, you could get crucified by the media and by fans, but we know your heart. We got you. So it was an incredibly, incredibly difficult few days for me. The backlash initially was pretty bad. I mean, I heard everything from you racist son of a bitch, F you and your wife, all these different things.
I'm sorry you went to that. People just suck sometimes.
They do. Yeah. No, they did. A lot of people do suck. They absolutely do. And they bitch and complain when they're not willing to put the work in. I laugh right in their face. God, I love it when people suck at life. You know why? Because I don't. God, I feast on those freaking little rats. They're little rats. Little sewer rats. They can't hang with this. By the way, that's 2 months of rehab. No lifting. Okay? They can't hang with a guy like me. Too fucking bad. You don't got discipline like me. Period. Okay? Now, back to the other stuff. I'm so thankful for the Miami Heat organization, UD and Jimmy and Dre and the rest of my teammates, Pat, Spo, rest of his staff, as I already mentioned, that they knew me and those other people around the league knew me. It fizzled out, but there was a lot of support, by the way. But then all of a sudden, boom, we play the Lakers, now Lake Show, more viewers. Now we're in the finals. They show the anthem again. Boom, I get just bombarded with hate. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought this was over. Then all of a sudden, this year, the team only knelt once, but guess what? I'm not kneeling. I'm sorry. I feel it in my heart. What I say is, like, I can't quite understand what it would be like to be a part of a family, for example, that has experienced some sort of police brutality. That it hurts me as a human being, but I have to imagine the rage and emotion that comes with that is just so goddamn taxing, and that's why you see these people so frustrated and so upset, right? But for me, I try not even to think about some of the stories my brother has told me, the people that I've been around and understood from the military. That's my reality. That's the pain in my heart when I hear that goddamn song every time. If I think too hard, it's going to make me tear up standing right there before an NBA game. I guarantee it. First time I knelt, by the way, Jimmy grabbed me right by my calf. Because I think he saw me. I don't know, maybe I tensed up. I don't know. I had to put my goddamn head down. I couldn't even look at the flag because I wanted to just, like, it was so emotional, right? So typical Meyers Leonard. I'm coming full circle here. Long-winded answers. It was hard as hell in the bubble, but it was one of the biggest blessings. And as I mentioned earlier, that run was incredible. And I learned something about myself, right? I learned many things, how to deal with other people. To continue to grind through an injury, to be there undoubtedly for my teammates, build that camaraderie, build that chemistry. Like I learned so much about myself as a man, like staying ready, watching film. Okay, if I get in, how am I going to impact the game? Like there's, again, people don't realize, they think, oh, well, Myers gets paid X, Y, and Z. No, Shut the hell up. You have no idea what it's like to be me. Okay? That's why I don't judge other people if I don't know them. Meyers, what do you think about X, Y, and Z player? Well, if I don't know them, I'm not commenting because you have no idea what we go through. You have no clue. I don't care. Like, we're not robots. Yes, we make great money. Yes, we're blessed. But we still have real life emotions, and this shit is hard. Period. Trust me.
Yeah, gotcha.